Nathan, hello. Nathan, hello. Hey,
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. So nice to see you.
Yeah, I'm at work today, so um, good to see you. Yeah, it's been a while. I
Have-
like your green, your amulet there.
Oh yeah, this is Kiwi. This is from New Zealand, maybe 30 years ago. So it's lasting well. Yeah. So we'll just chat for a little bit and see if anyone else arrives. I've got a couple of other people that should be coming, but we'll see how we go. But yeah, so first time live Zoom like this, right? So it's all a bit of a learning process.
Yes,
Yeah.
and and I think the time, which is always hard with these things, but the time difference was different. I think it's actually so right now it's 4 p.m. Eastern.
Thank you so much for that. Do you know I'm obviously still on Sydney time? I did the little Google and we have two, like on the East Coast in Australia, two time zones. There's Brisbane and Sydney, and they're different for a little bit longer, another few weeks or so, and then they're the same again. So it's crazy. Yeah.
It's one of the most stupidest things that they still change the time.
I
It's
know,
not
right?
needed.
Yeah.
And it's something that almost the whole world seems to agree with, but uh, they just can't get it to change.
100%. I know it's so frustrating, right? Yeah. So I haven't heard much more about the vegan meetup. How will you go again? Was that good?
I will go again. It was good. I mean, it was a little awkward, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not to meet up with a bunch of people I didn't know.
Yeah.
Um, but and they ranged from various stages of where they were at. But like there was one woman there that I would put in your category, very hardcore, and she's
Amazing.
all in and she's very inspiring. But others where they've had their own challenges and they live with people that are not. And but it was good. It was a good group of people. Just good to meet some. I mean, for me especially, I don't have the greatest willpower in the world. While I'm very solid in my goal and my beliefs, what I find very hard is when I'm around other people and they're having fun and I feel like I'm being left out of something. Um, and that's, you know, you've been at this a long time, so it's probably hard to explain that part of it. But that's so talking through that with some of the people. One of the guys there had a similar situation, like I mentioned to you about the cappuccino. He ended up having a sandwich where they put mayonnaise on it. And told him not to, and so there was some debate at the table. And he's like, you know what, these eggs were already, the damage was already done. I didn't want to waste more food by sending it back. And it's like those are the debates that I think people have. It's like, okay, do you want to teach the manager a lesson, or are you just by getting more food, are you just you're having a bigger impact on the planet, right? So, but overall, I'm giving you a long answer. It was very good. It was good to meet some people, and yeah, I definitely will go back.
Yeah, amazing. I can't really, as I've shared with you before, I'm not so much a people pleaser, right? Like I'm really cool I'm okay with being the odd one out. However, to try and relate to that experience, the having fun component, maybe that's what it would be like for me giving up alcohol. I'd be like, oh my goodness, my friends are getting drunk and having all this fun, and I don't drink anymore. That's really sad. I would find that hard. The thing with the vegan component, aside from like your whole huge ethical why, which is really compelling, the food is only going to get better, right? There will be the stage in time where you are at every single event and you've got the animal based and the animal free option, and they're at least as delicious. We'll get there. So that's what I tell myself, hey? So you won't be missing out at all.
Well, and I agree with you, and but the problem is, and I don't know. I mean, again, I live in Texas, so I don't know what it's like where you live. A lot of events, it is very hard to get options that are. I mean, I guess it's growing, but it's either like you really have to prepare and plan for yourself. Um, I mean, it's like I think I chatted with you about going to a hockey game with my brother and his fiance and everything. I ended up eating a couple pickles, and
It's
they
American.
don't allow you in the U.S. They don't allow you to ever bring food or drinks into a stadium
Yeah.
because they want to sell you stuff. So yeah, this woman behind me thought I was crazy because I ate three big pickles. And I can't even promise you those pickles were vegan. I assume they are, but who knows what they put in something, right?
They were
So,
the best you could have
mm,
possibly done, though, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think those things are, and then you do just kind of feel like, okay, are you, but anyway, I mean, yes, I won't say it's been always easy, but it is good to hear other people are having those challenges. And they told me there's a much larger community in San Antonio, although I was like, okay, but there's only seven of us here. Oh, no, no, there's a lot more.
How
But
far
this one woman,
San Antonio?
she,
I'm not very good with US geography.
so this is Southern Texas,
Okay.
um, one of the cities that's probably the closest city to the Mexican border.
Okay.
But we're still a couple hours away drive, but very Hispanic area, which I mean, not good or bad, just that's, but definitely known for barbecue, like
Oh, okay. I was going to
barbecue.
say that could be good food, but barbecue not necessary. Yeah, right. Okay.
No, no, not Texas barbecue.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Not if you've never been to Texas, then no, it's about steak and farmers in the Boston, Houston, San Antonio, barbecue ribs, barbecue steaks. Yeah, that's generally what people, they have big smokers and all that. So,
Yeah, right. Okay. Okay.
but how have you been? How's this going for you?
Yeah, do you know, like I am so aligned right now. I absolutely love it. I quit PT, personal training, full time, and that has just actually been a massive relief because I don't know how much I shared with you, but the fact that most of my clients, well, all of my clients in Noosa aren't vegan, that's actually really hard because I'm hiding potentially the biggest part of me. I'm not speaking about a super impactful part of their health transformation, right? I'm putting them through their paces in the gym. That's really easy. But I can't talk food because I don't want to talk about animal products with them. And clients I haven't had the privilege of training for a decade plus, like all my clients in Sydney, I've trained for so long. Here in Noosa, they're all new. So I didn't have that like goodwill in the bank of being able to be that crazy animal rights, vegan animal, animal activist. I kind of had to just swallow my veganness a lot at the gym, and that was costing me. So now everything that I do is completely aligned, and it means that everything I do gives me energy more than takes energy, right? Which is the same. And we'll get into, I'll start having it in our conversation right now. I'll turn it soon into something that's worthwhile for anyone listening in the future to listen to, right? If that's okay with you, Nathan. If that, yeah, yeah. So I'll do that. Anyone listening, I'll do that really, really soon. But the point is, everything I'm doing now is so much more aligned and it gives me energy. And this is probably going to be, this will relate to the self care topic today, right? You can do a lot, a hell of a lot, and I do, without it being completely exhausting. And I think exhausting is when you're censoring yourself and doing stuff that isn't completely aligned. And often we have to force ourselves to do such things at some times. But I guess to shift it around and to kind of introduce the idea of the call today, I might change the name. I'm kind of liking Plant Positive Hour of Power, which I think is close to near what you voted on, Nathan, and I think David as well. Here's Carla. Let me let Carla in and we'll just wait for her mic to come on. I haven't spoken to Carla before. Hey, Carla. I can see you, but your mic is on mute. Ask to unmute. This is all very new for me as well. Ask to unmute. Hopefully that will happen. Ask to unmute. If you can hear me, Carla. Oh, you're there, Carla.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Very well, Carla. So far, it's yourself and Nathan and I. So it's the three of us so far.
Okay. Hello, Nathan.
Hello. What part of the world are you in?
Buffalo, New York.
Oh, well, I'm in San Antonio, Texas. So.
Oh, a lot warmer over there than it is here.
Yes, it is. We've got a beautiful day here today.
And
Oh, that's
Nathan,
wonderful.
you were in New York at one point, right?
I grew up in New Jersey, so yeah, pretty familiar with that part of the country. Grew up in New Jersey, so.
Amazing, amazing. So Carla, I was just saying to Nathan that irrespective of how many there are of us, this is a learning process for me. I'll adapt to what is most beneficial for you guys today, firstly, but for the community as a whole. And the first thing I want to say, because I'm really aware of this with Zoom calls that I attend, I love that Nathan's got his camera on, but Carla, you don't need to. Whoever attends in the future, you can come with your camera on. That's ideal. You can come, you can just lurk. That's cool. If you feel if someone feels most comfortable lurking and just listening and not even contributing, I'm actually cool with that because sometimes I jump on a Zoom kind of to support the community owner, and it's kind of up to them to pull me into wanting to interact. I might just be multitasking in the background, and so that's totally cool. Whatever's comfortable for people in the future. um, I'm thinking we might call this the Plant Positive Hour of Power. That was close to one of the names that was voted on, and I want this community to be all about impactful actions, whether it's for the animals, the planet, or your own health. I want it to be about community and collaboration and working together, powerful habits, all of this. I think it all is about being more powerful and impactful as a community. And maybe we'll speak a little bit more to that in the future or further in this phone call. But as a cheesy icebreaker to start off with, I'd love if all of us could share something that we're grateful right now. I'm going to start with you, Nathan.
Oh, grateful. I'm grateful that you put this together. I mean, I get that is cheesy, I guess, but it's a start, right? And I hope more people join. And I mean, I'm grateful to be part of. We're trying to be part of a community of like-minded people because, as you know, that has not really been my background. So I'll start with that, I guess.
That is perfect. And I am all for the vegan cheese. So, all good. Carla, what are you grateful for?
Well, it's crazy that Nathan took mine. I literally was going to say I'm grateful for a vegan community. I don't have any, vegan friends or people to talk to about the, food or the movement or the animals. So it's great just to have community and like-minded individuals to share it with.
I love that. And just to be really honest as well, like this is the fine line that I'm trying to walk, and hopefully this appeals to anyone listening in the future. I want Plant Positive to be a safe, supportive place for my vegan friends and animal rights activists and those that are, as Nathan calls me, really extreme. I know you say that with love, like those of us that are all in 100%. And also, I want to create an environment that is super welcoming and safe for my non-vegan friends as well. I want to welcome people into this lifestyle because again, I lead with my heart. I'm working towards a vegan world, and for us to get there, we need to be really like attractive and welcoming to anyone at any stage of the journey. So if you're not vegan and you're just listening to this, you are welcome to wherever you are on the journey. I should share what I'm grateful for. Nathan, Carla, I don't know how much time you've spent in the greater school community beyond just my little Plant Positive. However, I am super grateful for the whole community. There is so much there to explore. And one of the things that I'm really super loving is in my life, nearly everyone, I don't have many vegans in my life in real life either. What I do have is a lot of people who tell me to work less and chill more and don't push so hard. And oh my God, your goals are so huge and unrealistic. And in school, I don't get that. In school, that is where I see people working harder and trying more than I am, and they encourage me to just play a bigger game, right? So, if you're listening in the future and you're another community founder, and just the greater school community, I am really grateful for all of that. So, what I'm going to do in these calls before we get to the main self-care components, and I want to try and make it as interactive and less just me as possible, but I want to shout out to some other communities and people that are doing really well, and I'll keep it kind of brief, but in my goal to be collaborative and to have the greatest impact, there are a couple of communities that I'm really respecting, and one of them is Maxwell's Rise Up Together community. It actually is paid. It's $10 a month now. However, his community is all about mental health, community, and kindness, with the motto to lift others up one act of kindness at a time. And that's something I want to try and model down that track, like these acts of kindness. Nathan, I know we spoke briefly about potentially the next Plant Positive Jumpstart. That's the 30-day challenge I run every quarter. And Carla, I don't know if you were on the last one at all, but last one was food prep fair. Then it was all about the food and making it easy. And that's great. And I'm okay with the food. And people seem to want a little bit of it. However, I'm thinking maybe the next one might be more about the activism and the acts of kindness and us doing stuff in real life that we share in the community as kind of a way to inspire and just have a greater impact. What do you guys think of that as a bit of an idea?
I love it. I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to hear from others what they're doing, like even if it's small steps. Yeah, it would be good.
I think it's really inspiring to see when, and it gives you good ideas as well. Like I remembered when I interviewed like superhero to me, Ingrid Newkirk of Peter, and she's got this like always be advocating attitude where like she'll just, at any single opportunity, she would be advocating for the animals. And, she's a powerhouse, like that we don't have to put that much pressure on each other, on ourselves. But she'd share examples of what she did. And I was like, yeah, right, I could do that. And I see the Jumpstart as a way for us to just share these little impactful things that we did, ideally with photos. That'd be cool. And anyway, that's for May. So shout out to Maxwell's Rise Up community. Let's move a little bit onto self-care. And I guess I'm going to ask the two of you, you're having to do some heavy lifting. I'm sorry, guys. The two of you and anyone listening, this question is for you right now as well. I guess who here has ever felt like burnt out, exhausted, like everything that you're doing or the majority of it is for someone else and not really for you? Over to you, Carla. Have you ever felt like that before?
I feel like that almost every day for the last couple of years. I mean, if I with the husband and the kid, everything seems to be for them or for work, and finding the time for myself, especially lately, it's been hard.
Yeah, it's a lot, right? Nathan, are you related?
Yes.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can relate to that. I mean, there's a lot going on. I mean, in multiple ways, but yes.
Absolutely. And, anything I speak to is because I've come from a place of needing to get better at it myself. It first comes from a place of needing to help myself. And I first got obsessed with, I first really failed at self-care when I was stuck in the business from hell. And that was a gym franchise. I had no freedom. And, I just worked like 14 hours a day. It was back in 2008 to 2011. And, I'd go to bed thinking I just didn't get enough done. And I'd wake up thinking, I'll never get it all done. And that was kind of my mindset and my life. And I think that brings us into my self-care acronym. If you guys know me at all, I love an acronym. So self-care is 8 steps to me, as my little computer starts to hum in the background, which is really annoying. And the S in self-care is all about your self-talk. And so that was why I kind of started with the question that I did. And, now I wake up today, as opposed to when I had that gym business. Now when I wake up, I think, let's do this. That is my self-talk when I wake up. And when I go to bed, genuinely, I'm not even making this up. When I go to bed now, I think you did well, because your unconscious mind is always listening 24/7. You're the only person that you get to spend all of that time with. And so I think the way that you speak to yourself is so really important. And I don't want to put too much pressure on you guys, the two of you, for this inaugural live session. So I'm going to say, I'm going to direct questions to you just from time to time. Please butt in whenever you want. It is welcome, not rude. So if I'm just talking, and you want to butt in, please do. You know I can talk. So that's step one, self-talk. Step two, I always go to, in fact, it's part of my clarity, confidence, and consistency coaching program. E is for elicit your values and use them as a daily filter for your decision making. That sounds like a lot. However, it's actually about living an aligned life and eliminating the decision making process. So, for example, if my top value is freedom, which it is, once I know that, when I'm making a decision, it becomes an act of self-care to know, is this going to give me more or less freedom in my life? The same as my second value is integrity. Again, no right or wrong with values. They're just my top two. When I'm making a decision, is this about integrity in my life? It's why staying vegan is just non-negotiable and natural and sustainable, because it's an ethical decision aligned with integrity. I will ask for you guys to jump in a little bit now. If each of you were to name, and maybe it's hard if you haven't thought of it before, Nathan, I know you have though. If you were to name it your top value that is going to have impact in your daily decision-making process, Nathan, value number one, do you know what that is for you?
I'd say it's also integrity. But family is a strong value to me. Being there for my family, supporting them, etc. So, but integrity is something I try to pride myself on, being honest with myself, being honest to others.
Yeah, because you can imagine, I just know on the off, like obviously I probably do it plenty of times unconsciously without even clicking, but generally, if I were to make a decision in life that just felt completely not aligned with my integrity, that is actually going to cost me a lot. Like that is the opposite of health, of self-care. It's going to be completely in conflict with the person I want to be, and that is absolutely exhausting. Carla, what comes up for you so far as your
Me,
number one?
I, I'm sorry. I'm getting called back into work. I am sorry. I'm having to cut out of this.
Oh, Carla,
But this is the last hour of my. This is at 4:30, so I was trying to think I could listen to this without being cut away. But I have to go to work for a second, so I'm going to cut back in a minute.
yeah, you're all good. We'll see you when you come back,
I
Carla.
am so sorry. I
No, it's
apologize.
fine. It's all good. I love that you tried. I hope we see you back.
Okay, thanks, Kate. I'll be back in a minute.
I mean, and this is how I want it to work, right, Nathan, and anyone listening. I want people to be able to bounce in and bounce out, and I am good with constructive criticism. So, with like either I'll get the feedback that people keep coming, or more people come. I'll adjust to get better. We'll make sure it's as valuable as possible. So, bouncing in and out, work dependent, completely cool with me. Well, it looks like it's just you and I for this little next bit in time, which is totally cool. Step
The
three.
challenge that's always with the values is the gray area sometimes, or the interpretive, like ethics. Like there's a lot of things you could be borderline on ethics based on your culture or your background, etc. And those ethics don't always align with where somebody else is. Where so I think it's easy, like we all know killing is bad, right? But when it's certain things like the debate around, do you return the mayonnaise or not, right? Those are the things where it becomes a lot more gray area of where, and I think sometimes with me, I tend to overthink those things, where it's like then I go beat myself up or whatever, and it's so it's about managing values, but understanding like where's that, like I think you've said it before, your line, right? Your
Yeah.
what's your line of your values? Um, and that's the much harder part to me, is defining what that line is, I guess.
No, I'm so glad you went there because also like I talk about integrity and being so, like yeah, I'm locked and loaded with the vegan lifestyle. I'm gonna buy things where there was probably child labor without me knowing, right? Like where do you even stop? There's the line in the sand, and if someone presented me with the information aligned with that product, I would stop buying it, right? However, I haven't hunted out that information myself. So is that a lack of integrity or ethics? Like yeah, probably if I wanted to get stuck on it. However, I think it's the clarity on what, as we say, our line in the sand is right now. Like clear for now, act aligned with that. Know it's probably going to change. Know that if we make not the best decision, we don't give ourselves grief. We just learn from it and move on, right? Because there's no value in that grief. Yeah, there's value in the lesson, not
Mm.
in the dwelling on the grief. So I think that's a hugely important point. I appreciate it.
I tend to dwell on the grief. That's something I'm working on.
How fun is that though, Nathan? Come on, how's that?
No, it's not. It's not. But it's like once you open your eyes to all of this, and this is still relatively new for me. I mean, it's almost everything you do. Every time you get in your car and drive around the block, you're impacting the planet in some way, and it's like, oh my God, what are we doing? It's like
100%.
so.
Look,
So it's
I always say we've got unlimited compassion, right? We can have compassion for all these individuals and animals in here. But in terms of impact and where we put our energy and passions, there is limitations there. It's almost like we pick our path and we do our best on that path, and we actually can't do all the paths. So I'd like to be an activist for many things. I've picked the one that resonates most deeply with my heart, and I think has impact across multiple spheres of life. It helps the humans and environment as well. But yeah, I think energy is a huge part of it. Where we spend it, where we waste it. Moving on to step 3 in my little self-care acronym, L is for lock and load the big rocks that keep you healthy and happy. Happy is new to me. I used to be the trainer that was all about the best nutrition and the best exercise and those healthy habits, even meditation, all of this. Those healthy habits are so impactful. They're amazing. The happy habits are just as impactful, I think. And that's been my journey of the past couple of years. Like, we can be super focused on our big goal and big vision and the impact we're having. We also need to be happy in the journey because, it's going to take longer than we thought to get there. And also, life is short, it can end at any moment. That's not very happy, but that's more my focus these days. Tell me what happy and healthy means to you, Nathan. Are there any big rocks that you need to get better at?
Yeah, consistency. I need to get better at consistency. So um sleep, something I need to do better. But like yes, I've been keeping a vegan lifestyle, but I still eat like junky vegan food that I wish I was better at. And I just feel like sometimes it's like I can't do everything at once. So that's still a weakness for me. Um and just working out, trying to keep you know I keep myself on schedule. Comes up and down, and then probably the most important, what I said already, not beating myself up when I do have a bad day, which I do a lot of that.
And you can turn that around. Like I was such a judgy person in my early teens and whatever until I learned that judgment is reflected back at you. And I had to make a conscious effort to not be judgy of other people and not be judgy of myself. I've gotten so much better at it. So I think that being hard on yourself and beating yourself up is just the exact same thing. You make the conscious effort for however many days you catch yourself, Nathan, you idiot. You're like, no, reframe to whatever it is that resonates with you, that more supportive, self talk. Um, on that, I had something I wanted to go there with the happy. Oh, totally resonate with the junk food, right? Because I feel like when we've made a big lifestyle shift, because health, because you're in a position where you're in good shape and health wasn't the primary motivator, right? It's not like you've got like all this weight to lose and it's really urgent. So like you exercise regularly, you're in good shape. I almost feel like that vegan junk food, it's that little kind of like card of, hey, I still get to eat, like it's a little treat, right? I still get to. I kind of have that in my life as well. My food isn't completely pure, it's completely vegan, it's not completely whole food plant based. Because sometimes you want to have that little treat, that little I deserve. Like sometimes you want
Yeah.
it, and I think that's okay as long as it's not costing you, you know, like anything is it becomes a bad habit once it's costing you in terms of the other things that are really important to you. So if it's costing you so far as your health and your work efficiency and your quality time with love, whatever, but if it's not, it's probably pretty all right. Okay. Um, Next up, the F in self care is to filter the people you spend time with. I'm going to ask everyone
Mm.
on this call, you and me, Nathan, what's something to implement after we get through our 8 steps. And this is actually going to be my one because filter the people you spend time with. Yes, it's those energy vampires that you'd love to spend less time with. However, equally as important, it's those people that you spend time with and you just feel so re-energized, like your vegan meetup that you just had. You just feel so positive after that. My action for Kate that I'm going to hold myself accountable to is I need to filter more of the time and conversations with the people I love, and I just feel so uplifted after those conversations. I need to filter more of that into my every single week, like actually schedule it because I'm a person who needs to schedule. Yeah. How are you at with that one, Nathan?
So, so one thing I do, and I think I might have shared this with you before. Every Saturday morning, my best friend and I we meet up at 6:30. We hike, and we go for like 2 or 3 hours. So every Saturday morning. Um, so I think that's important. Kind of talk through all sorts of things, um, and where it is a challenge, of course, is sometimes you can't always filter, right? My oldest son, he's 21, and my younger son and my daughter are actually moving more and more this direction. I'm impressed. My oldest son, no way. Um, Came home for spring break. He brought home steaks, and I guess you could say don't allow it in your house. I mean, he's my son. I'm gonna let him. I mean, it's that part is hard, right? And but you know, anyway, that's a longer story. But you just can't always filter everything, I guess is the point.
I love that point. That point is so true with new relationships. Like I have a firmer line in the sand, I think. Are we ethically, whatever it may be, with new relationships, with family members? Absolutely. Like it's so much more important if we choose to maintain those relationships. And that's something that I speak to in step 7 that we'll come to soon, which is probably my favorite step. But I guess the concessions you make for people you love because hey, we've chosen this lifestyle and we didn't live it like for the first few decades of our life potentially, and then we just make this huge change aligned with like our goals and values and beliefs and experiences, and more so what we make all of those mean. And we make this decision at one point in time and we expect everyone we love to be on the same page at the same time. It's ridiculous. So yeah, that's a good point. Step 5 is easy, create a not to do list. So maybe, you've heard me speaking to the importance of food prep and exercise and meditation and all of the things that we need to do, all the things you need to add to your life. Buy yourself some time with a not to do list, and ideally adding those things that suck energy from you, that make you resentful, that don't add joy to your life. Nathan, it's on you again. Is there anything you'd love to add to your not to do list?
Yeah, one of the big things is to be less judgmental. That's something
Yourself
on my
or others?
just for others and myself. But yes, that's one thing I don't like about me through this vegan transition is I think I've become more judgmental of other people. And like even if I'm in the grocery store, and they go, "Why are and you see someone like, you're overweight. Why are you buying this?" And I'm like, who am I? What am I talking about? I've had more cheeseburgers in my life than anybody. Who am I to judge them? But now all of a sudden I'm judging them just because I know more, right? So um, yeah, so that's something I try to take a deep breath, say, okay, I don't know anything about what this person's going through. Um, that's my number one not to do list item.
I love that, and I think that's probably a really important point so far as the vegan lifestyle and the judgment it potentially brings up in us. And like some of the judgments are really fair, to be frank. Like judgment isn't always a bad thing. You know, if you're judging someone for watching a video of an animal dying horrifically and still being cool with eating like their flesh, like it's not the worst thing to judge them on. However, the question I always come back to, is it effective? It's actually not. It's not fun. It's not effective. It's not sustainable because it costs us lots of energy and ruins our relationships. Plenty of experience with that one here. So I always go back to, is it effective? And it's just not, even if maybe it's like warranted. Sometimes judgment is warranted. Um, Next up, oh, I just restarted this and it is amazing. A in self care is for a 24-hour digital detox. People in school might have heard me bang on about this quite a bit. Only do it if you want to start your week to come feeling fresh, focused, and full of energy. So I do mine on a Saturday. Whenever I stop work on a Saturday, I aim to not start on the digital devices until 24 hours later on a Sunday. And it is amazing. I do cheat. I'll often just like journal and brainstorm on A4 paper. And so I might still work, but not on digital and no access to social media or email. Highly recommend this as a form of self care. Nathan, have you done it? I can't remember.
I've done it a couple times. I have not done it consistently. I
Yeah.
mean, I for probably just November through January, I stopped watching news completely.
Yeah.
So that was good, but then I wanted to get back in. But the social media, I've certainly done. The cell phone, 24 hours, I think I've done it once, and it was hard.
And I think, as with anything, you set your own boundaries, right? Like, I'm still going to listen to podcasts on my phone and I'm still going to text and call friends because that's something I need to get better at, not worse at. So, you set the boundaries with your 24-hour digital detox that work best for you. Again, I cheat recently because I've been more busy. I've bumped it back to only 20 hours because I was stressed out not having those extra 4 hours of work time on a Saturday. So again, I share the things that I struggle with. However, there's still the huge benefit of the all of Saturday afternoon and all of Sunday morning. Oh, it's working very well. Step 7 is my favorite as a self care suggestion, especially for vegans, or let's just say anyone who is following some aspect of a lifestyle or has a belief closely tied to their ethics and values, and it's creating conflict in their relationship with loved ones. Realistic expectations for yourself and the people you love, right? So, Nathan, we hinted at it. We've made this huge lifestyle change, might be relatively new, is for you, isn't for me. We have huge expectations. Speak for myself, firstly, on myself, of the impact I want to have and the change I want to make. My expectations are ridiculous and I treat my body like a machine, or I used to. You know, there's a kindness and compassion that we extend to the animals that I need to get even better at extending to myself. And I am. The hardest to work on, and you know this, Nathan, for me is the expectations I have of my loved ones, right? And I'm hoping people listening in the future can relate to this, you know. I think it's okay to have higher expectations of yourself. and a little bit lower and more realistic for the people you love who aren't there yet. You know, lower the bar to raise your chance of success. My favorite strategy is to focus on what we have in common. And this is something I really want to do in collaboration with other school community founders, is to work together with other founders that have complementary, I always think I might say that word wrong, but communities that are aligned with mine. They mightn't be vegan or plant-based, but they're focused on something like mental health and kindness that is really, really super aligned. And I'm not working with them because I want to convert them. I want to convert the world, but that's not why I'm working with them. I'm working with them because I think we have greater impact together as a whole. So that focusing on what we have in common with our loved ones who aren't on the same page, whether it's veganism, religion, politics, any of these really potentially fraught and heart-wrenching and exhausting topics, yeah, that's something that I remind myself of daily.
Yeah, it's hard because back to the filtering one. I mean, if you filter out everybody you got conflict with, you end up being with nobody. So it's like,
I love that you reminded me to come back to the filter. I wanted to come back here as well. There are some people where I'm just going to filter you out and I don't even care, and we're both better off for it. And then there are some people that you've decided you love them. They're your son, they're my father. You know, you want to maintain a relationship with them, right? You're not going to filter them out of your life. You are going to have more realistic expectations for them, and you're going to meet them or do your very best to meet them where they're at, not where you're at, right? And, you know, people make bids for connection, it's called, and vegans get really frustrated, I know, when a non-vegan will bang on about how horrific eating dog meat in Korea is, or our live export of sheep in Australia is. You know, someone you love who eats animals 3 times a day will bang on about how horrific what they do over there is. And I used to get really like agitated by that, because I'm like, well, that animal on your plate today suffered almost as much. Why don't you get it? But they're actually trying to connect with us. That they're like, oh, I know you care about this animal thing. They're actually trying to connect, and they might not do it effectively to our mind, to our judgment. However, I think we need to just like try harder to meet them where they're at with that bid for connection. Yeah.
yeah, I agree.
Last one. Here's the easy 5-minute quick fixes. You know, I've talked about eliciting your values and using them as a filter and realistic expect. It's all quite big. Sometimes self-care might just be that really easy, simple, healthy, cheap 5-minute quick fix. My latest one I love. I go pat my cat, Loki. You know, like just patting a cat is just, oh my goodness. If you're lucky enough to have a companion animal, just go pat that animal. They love it, as long as they do love it. Sitting in the sun for 5 minutes, being in nature, whatever it is, a 5-minute quick fix. I'm a huge fan, and ideally, we work in like multiple of these every single day. Yeah. Do you have a go-to that you turn?
That's yeah. I walk. I walk. I have a bad meeting. I go walk, whether it's around the building, just I go get some steps and walk.
Yeah, amazing. And do you have a podcast in, or is it just clear time when you walk, where you're
Oh,
like you're not filtering in
okay.
information?
So that comes back to my not to do list. But I listen to podcasts, but I try to actually grab somebody and say, let's go for a walk, because that keeps me from doing a podcast. But no, I know, yeah, you should just go out and be present. But I tend to put on a podcast or a book or something.
There's benefits to both. You know, sometimes I want to be taking in information, especially if it's quality information. I have started filtering out a lot of the true crime and stuff I used to listen to. I don't anymore. I usually now think, whose energy do I want to spend time with right now? There's all these free mentors online, right? And they are the people I'll pop in. However, as you said, even more, I'm like, I just want to just like not be flooding my mind with more information and just take in nature, or even better, as you suggested, actually interact with another human. Amazing. So that is the self-care acronym, and I committed to something. What was it? I committed to something. Nathan, you committed to be less hard on yourself, didn't you? I committed to filtering in more time with the friends that I love. Yeah. And the shout out, if you're listening, I'm going to start an after every Zoom call post where we can commit to our one thing, and share any other feedback, any learnings from the call. Um, Guest spotlight. As I said, I want to start inviting people on these Zoom trainings, like people from inside school, potentially other community founders, but also people I know from the podcast outside school. I probably haven't done it yet because I'm like, oh, my community's only 92 members, and how many will turn up? Well, one legend, and another legend for a partial appearance. Thank you, Carla. Um, and I want to invite people on board where they actually come, and instead of me doing that little self-care segment, I can talk for days. However, that will get boring for us all. I want to invite experts. Probably top of my list, I'm thinking vegan psychologist Claire Mann, who wrote the book. I've interviewed her 2 or 3 times for the podcast, Healthification. She wrote the book Dystopia, about the anguish of living vegan in a non-vegan world, and she's all about effective communication with the non-vegans in your life, and just, I guess, mental health for vegans. Like, once, as you shared, Nathan, once you have this realization and the shutters are lifted and the food becomes the easy part, everything else can get quite fraught and challenging because there's all this unnecessary pain and suffering around us 24/7. So she's probably top of my list. And shout out to anyone in the comments. If you want to recommend yourself or anyone else, please do. Nathan, does anyone dream list come top of mind to you?
Well, Rip Esselstyn.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
You were on his podcast, so maybe that's how I learned about you. Maybe he owes you one.
Yeah. Here's my limiting belief. I just don't think the community is big enough for his time yet. I would love to hear from Rip, and just putting it out there. I'm like hoping to come back on his show a second time in the near future. I've reached out because when he did interview me, he said, let's get you back for a second appearance. So that's top of my wish list right now. I've got a lot more I've been focusing on, and I'd like to pop back on his podcast. But yeah, open to all the suggestions. I'll quickly mention the giveaway. Once we get to 10 or more people, woohoo, attending these Zoom calls, I'm just going to start to post out the Plant Positive Journal version 2 to someone anywhere in the world, almost anywhere in the world. Mine's right here, scribbled all over. I know, Nathan, you've got one as well, which I'm so grateful for. But I love the idea of a little prize. And so once we get to 10 plus members, I'll be sending out one a week. And I want to always do a bit of a final thought too. And this is in relation to self-care. And who else would I quote in my community but James Clear, because I basically quote him all of the time and got the chance to interview him in a pinch myself moment as well. James Clear says, find the beauty in... Sorry, I'll start again. Find the beauty and joy in your daily rituals, and you will find beauty and joy in your daily life. To love your habits is to love your days, and to love your days is to love your life. And I think that is so powerful, because we all have the ability and the opportunity to just insert these little habits into our every single day that we love. Even if our life isn't exactly as we want it, we can insert these powerful, beautiful little habits, and we can find joy in every single day, which aligns with the joy and the journey that I am so committing to right now, rather than just that madly chasing the destination. So I love that from James Clear. That's most of what I wanted to cover. Nathan, you have been my co-host. I am so grateful for that. So much better with a co-host rather than just on my own, you know. I'm sure more people have listened because of your co-hosting. So thank you so much for that. Any final words, co-host?
No, you're very inspiring. This is helpful for me for the day, so I will try to join as much as I can. I mean, I wish you luck on this.
Amazing. Thank you so much. As I said, hugely grateful. I'll close us down now. I'll find out a way to post this thing live. And yeah, huge gratitude, Nathan, and huge gratitude, Carla, as well, for your short appearance. I do appreciate that. And to anyone else listening. So cheers for now. Bye, Nathan.
Bye.